What's up, beautiful world? This is TNA Top Notch Audio, and welcome to another episode of r/malicious compliance. Our first story will be, I didn't know being sick was first come, first serve, followed by, you must actually teach on the last day before Christmas break, and finally, gets fired, ends up with promotion instead. If this is your first time listening, remember to hit that subscribe button on the bottom right hand corner. If this is not your first time, welcome back. Enjoy the stories. And this story is posted by u/Bowland. I didn't know being sick was first come, first serve. So this happened to me a while ago, 2014-ish, when I worked at a fast food restaurant in the UK with the red-headed clown as a mascot, as well as for some of the managers there. I have tons of malicious compliance stories from this place, and one day I will get round to posting them all, but for now, here's this one. Now, being an eating establishment, hygiene is very important, as you can imagine. The policy when I started there, as far as I'm aware, is the same to this day, maybe even more strict considering the whole pandemic thing that's happening, was that if you were sick, you had to have 48 hours off from the time you call in sick to ensure that you were better for returning to work so you don't poison the customers. Makes sense, right? I'm ill, I'm handling food, I'm going to get others sick. I'm not feeling great at all this shift. I was feeling a little off in the morning, but I thought I might be able to get better by the evening when my shift is. Over the day, I started to get a cough, fever, runny and blocked nose, headache, full-on cold. The policy also states that if you are going to call in sick, it should be no later than 2 hours before your shift starts. Fair enough. It gets to 2 hours before my small 4-hour shift, and I feel dreadful, so I call up the manager on the shift that day. Me. Hi manager, it's Bowland. Cough. I feel awful. I shouldn't be working today. Sniff. Manager. You can't be sick. We need you in today. Me. I am really not well. I am coughing and my nose is running everywhere. Deep, heavy cough. Manager. I have already had 3 people calling sick for today, so you need to be here. See you in a couple hours. Hangs up. So here I am, dripping with sweat, looking like death could take me at any moment with a small smirk on my face. I think, okay, guess I'm going to work tonight. I proceed to get ready, get in the car, and drive to work. Now there is no back door for employees to slip in at this place, so we have to use the main entrance and walk through the dining area to go into the back of the kitchen. So, step 1. Make sure I am seen by as many people as possible looking like something out of a horror movie. I shamble through the front door, making sure to have a fit of coughing complete in my uniform so all the customers can see I am unwell. I make sure to wave and say hi to my colleagues on the counter in the huskiest voice I have before wandering through to the door that leads to the kitchen. At this point, I would like to say that I was in fact very sick that day and I should not have been working, but I wanted to teach my boss a lesson, so I might have exaggerated my symptoms just a little bit to make sure the point stuck. I make it to the break room where 2 of my crewmates are, and immediately both ask if I'm feeling alright. I tell them no, but I have a point to prove, which is why I'm here. I check the rota on the break room and bingo, I'm on the register. Front of house, everyone can see me. This is perfect for step 2. Ensure each person I serve questions if I'm fit to work. I wander through the kitchen to the register and start working. My first customer places an order and they look a little wary. I get them their food, they go and sit down and start eating. My boss has seen this exchange and you can see the gears turning in his head. Can't be having a zombie serving food. I know, let's put them in the kitchen where they can't be seen. I get told to swap with the person who is working grill, so yes, I am no longer seen by anyone, but they have moved me from working with wrapped food which I couldn't contaminate to working with creating the food from scratch. Great idea there, boss. FYI, I never intentionally poisoned someone's food. I was trying to be very good and stepped out of the kitchen every time I needed to cough and blow my nose, washed my hands, and then got back to it. I have been working for an hour or so now, still 3 to go, and by this point I'm feeling lightheaded and unable to focus on what I am doing. I'm not exaggerating anymore, I am not good at all. It's not very busy, so I'm just trying to keep myself on my feet. In walks the night manager, who happens to be the acting store manager too. Night manager. Evening, Bowland. Me. Grunts and sniffs. Night manager. Are you feeling alright? Me. Slowly shakes head. Night manager. Why didn't you call in sick? Me. I did. I was told that others had already called in sick, so I had to be here. She looks around at the pretty empty restaurant and plenty of staff, including the manager who had me come in, sitting in the dining area pretending to look busy while being on his phone. Night manager. Clock out, go home, get better, and don't worry about your shifts for the next 2 days. I nod, and just before I go to get my stuff, I see her storm to the manager in the break area before dragging him into the office. I go back to work after a couple of days like I was told, feeling 100%. I am greeted by the night manager who checks on me, which I am grateful for. I start to work and get caught up on the workplace gossip. Turns out the manager who made me work that day was given a right bullocking that night, and he turned in his resignation the next day, or so the rumor goes. And this story is posted by u/Green Egg Page. You must actually teach on the last day before Christmas break. This story comes from my favorite teacher in high school, Charlie. The time was in the 80s. He was a chemistry teacher, mild, short man, but devious. If you tried to take a nap during his class, he would just keep talking, walk over to the ammonia bottle, wet a rag, and drop it beside your head, all while acting like nothing was going on. Charlie, for quite some time, would let students have fun on the last day before break, until the principal told him that he had to teach the kids something. So he complied. He set up an experiment for that day. The ingredients included sucrose, glucose in solution, protein pellets, and, I had to look it up, 4-hydroxy-3-methoxybenzaldehyde. As the students happily performing their experiment, the principal sticks his head in the door to ensure that Charlie is actually having them do something productive and is happily surprised. Charlie fills them in on the experiment in big scientific words. As the principal is about to leave, he remarks, "Why does it smell like peanut brittle in here?" And every year after that, we made peanut brittle on the last day of class for the semester. And this story is posted by u/SG Canadian. Gets fired, ends up with promotion instead. This story comes from when I used to work for a global big box store that may or may not start with a W. As an aside, they also aren't known for how well they treat their staff either. At the time this happened, I worked in the storeroom unloading trucks and bringing stock to the floor to be stocked by the overnight crew. Our shift at the time was 3:30 p.m. to 12 a.m. Our store manager made it clear that no overtime was permitted to be worked, anything over 9 hours by company policy. This meant at the latest we had to leave by 12:30 a.m. We usually cut it close because we were chronically understaffed for various reasons. I knew this night was going to be bad the moment I arrived. We had 6 workers scheduled, yet 2 called in sick, including the shift lead. This meant that I was put in charge as I had the most experience, and the day shift managers all loved me because I worked my butt off. I then checked our delivery schedule, and it showed 2 semi-trucks, both with over 2,000 items each that needed to be unloaded, in addition to another truck that was expected to have 20 plus pallets of stock. This meant we had over 4,000 items that needed to be unloaded by hand with only 4 workers to do it. In addition, we were also responsible for scanning items out of overstock bins and bringing them to the floor if the system detected an item needed to be restocked. Needless to say, the shift sucked. We didn't get our first break until almost 10 p.m. and around 7 p.m. the system dropped about 350 items that needed to be scanned out of the overstock bins, and there were almost 200 bins we would need to search for this stuff. As the shift lead, the fact that we were so behind was my fault. Definitely didn't have anything to do with being overworked with underachievable time targets. So the overnight managers arrived at 10:30 p.m. and one of them went ballistic and yelled at me, "Cool, whatever, I don't care, I'll just leave at 12 a.m. So here's where the compliance comes in to a point. 12 a.m. comes around and the manager refuses to let us leave. Doors get locked with keys only managers have and alarms are set. One of the 4 of us is a college student and has an exam at 8 a.m. so they let him go. 12:30ish rolls around and we start to leave. Again, not allowed to leave by manager. Keep in mind, overtime is not allowed, and after 12:30 we were in overtime. One of the 3 remaining of my crew has childcare issues, so they let him leave. At 1 a.m., the overnight crew goes on break and the doors are unlocked so manager can smoke. My only remaining crew member just walks out, and manager lets him go without argument. I was working, so didn't know until after the doors were relocked. 3 a.m. rolls around and night crew goes for lunch. I'm fed up with manager's attitude as he's been harassing me for the last 2 hours about not being done without offering any help. I decide that I'm going home. As I walk out the doors, manager is standing there. Manager, where are you going? Are you done? Me, nope. Still about 20 pallets to go out of about 80 overstock items to be picked from the bins. Manager, go back and finish. You can't leave. Me, I'm already 2.5 hours into OT. I'm going home. Manager, do we need to go into the office and talk about your poor attitude and lack of work ethic? Me, pissed off at this point. Screw your manager. I'm going home. Manager, don't come back. You're fired. Me, have fun explaining to store manager why you fired me. I'll be sure to tell him all about the shift tonight. I then left and went home. About 5-ish hours later, 8 a.m., I get a phone call from the store. It's the store manager and he wants to talk to me. Can I come in for a meeting at noon? I say sure, I'll be there. I get to the store just before noon and get escorted into the store manager's office by one of the day managers. SM, I hear you had some overtime last night. Care to explain why? Me, explains everything that happened above. SM, so you left at 3 a.m.? Me, yes. SM, and manager said you were fired, correct? Me, yes. SM, he isn't allowed to do that. What you told me matches what the other night manager said happened. As a result, manager is being moved to day shift for retraining. You also are not fired. We need a new overnight stockroom lead, and I'd like to offer it to you. It comes with $1 per hour night shift bonus and $1 per hour raise. Me, I'll take it. I've been trying for this position anyway. When do I start? SM, you start tomorrow night if you want. Me, great. Thank you, store manager. I then went home and told my family, who were quite happy with the turnout, especially my mom, who also worked at the store and was rather pissed about what happened. Those were 3 great stories. To hear the best stories of the week, click on the video in the top left-hand corner. To hear more Reddit stories all related to what you just heard, click on the video in the top right-hand corner. If you have not already done so, click on the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner. Once again, this is TNA, Top Notch Audio. Thank you for listening and have yourself a great day.